Coming up on this episode of Flirtations, we welcome Michelle Mouhtis to the show to have a conversation with us about dating burnout. If you're feeling, charred, scarred, frustrated, overwhelmed, and maybe scared too, overall burnt out on dating or somewhere in and out of this, stick around as together we'll explore what dating burnout is, the ways it can impact our dating lives, and how we can ultimately love ourselves through it and out of it. We'll also talk about why you should be taking dating breaks, how to fill your own cup, and how to keep the hope alive even when the dating scene feels exhausting or when you wonder if it's ever meant to be. Flirty, we got you. So, whether you're feeling burnt out from swiping, having what feels like an endless string of bad first dates, or feeling rejection, or maybe you just want to listen to a podcast, this episode is for you. Let's do this, Flirties.
I heard you wanted to flirt. I heard you wanted to flirt. I heard you wanted to flirt. Hello, my name is Benjamin. I'm the flirt coach and a gay Libra. Everyone has an inner flirt.
Hey, Flirty.
Live, laugh, flirt.
Work the flirt.
Work the flirt. Delulu is the Salulu. Expert on the flirt.
Hey, Flirty. There's always another flirt.
Everyone has an inner flirt. Get out of your head and into the flirt.
Flirties, we have a very important discussion for you today. As I've heard, some of you have been charred out there dating. There might be some burnout happening. To have this conversation with us, relationship therapist and dating coach Michelle Mouhtis on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am very excited. As we were setting up this conversation in the DMs, lots of exclamation points. I think some emojis, as we're going to be getting into an extremely important topic today that we have not talked about on Flirtations thus far: dating burnout, frustration, overwhelm, what to do when you're experiencing this, how to keep the hope alive, maybe taking some dating breaks, swiping, all the things. But first things first, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about yourself and your work with the Flirties today.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Michelle. I'm a relationship therapist and dating coach, and I help millennials throughout the entire love and relationship spectrum, from breakup through single and finding your person, through keeping the love that you find and keeping the spark in the honeymoon phase alive throughout your relationship. And I do this through one-on-one coaching, group programming, and masterclasses.
Fantastic.
And I wouldn't do anything else. I'm obsessed with what I do.
Yeah. I'd say me as well.
It's the best.
Fun. It really is.
So much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. It's got its challenging moments, of course, but when you get to be there through the process of just helping people find connections and relationships and ultimately love, knowing that all the while it's you, the flirty, are at the center of all of this. And when people start to sometimes make that switch between really kind of looking outside themselves to more so centering themselves in the dating process, asking those questions, right? Oh, not do they like me, but how do I feel? Do I like them? Yeah.
Dating is such an opportunity for personal growth. It's such an opportunity to get to know yourself on deeper levels. And that's what I would love to highlight today, too, as we get into the discussion, that dating is for you. It's just as much for you as it is about finding your person.
Yeah. And we're going to be getting into that for sure. I think the first question I want to ask is, Michelle, what the heck is happening out there dating? What is happening?
My opinion, what I think is happening.
Yeah.
We've never dated at this scale before in all of human history. The same crap was happening years ago, right? Like, just watch an episode of Sex and the City. It was happening, but it was never happening at this scale. We've never had such a catalog of all the singles in your area in one place at one time, dating for all different reasons. And I think the scale, which we're not just seeing with dating, it's happening in a lot of different facets of life, right? Esther Perel I just heard her say, we're living in a world where you have 300 online friends, but no one to feed your cat, right? So, of course.
Oh, my God. Oh, yes, that's so true.
So if this is happening on a societal level, how is it not going to affect dating, right? Of course it's going to affect dating.
Yeah.
So of course there's other nuances that go along with what's happening with dating culture now. But I think this is the biggest common denominator between all of it. We're just living at a scale of connection never seen before, where we're navigating it in real time.
Yeah, you're really right. Speaking to the scale piece of it, it's sort of the paradox of choice, if I can make a parallel between dating and the grocery industry, which I'm going to do. It's if you go to the good old Trader Joe's, you're shopping the grocery aisle, and let's say you want some mustard. Fantastic. We've got it. You're going to get a couple options. You're going to get a nice yellow, right? Something for your hamburgers, hot dogs, vegan or otherwise. You're going to have a nice Dijon, something spicy. You might even find a garlic aioli, something a little bit more fancy for your charcuterie board, perhaps. You got about 3 options. That's it. There's not a lot of choices. Pick one, or if we don't have what you're looking for, you go somewhere else, right? You ask a question. Hey, can you help me pick? I'm not sure. This is what I need it for. But if you're dating and you're on the apps, you have seemingly limitless options. It is unbelievable. And so we've been granted in many ways incessant choices, and has that in the long run, or as we're having this conversation today, really helped us move forward in developing those deeper, more fulfilling, authentic connections? I'm not so sure. Sometimes.
Absolutely. And I think what's contributing to dating burnout as well is not only is it so many choices on a dating app, right?
Yeah.
But dating apps are not soulmate finders. Not everyone on the app is looking for a long-term relationship, is looking for love, is looking for partnership.
Yeah.
So you have this catalog with so many different dating intentions, and you're left to whittle it out yourself.
Yeah. Part of dating that I know you'll experience, I know the flirties are experiencing if they're dating, they're like, yep, this is what's happening. It's you don't always know why someone is dating, what their intentions are. And going back not that long ago, we were really dating for survival in many ways. You were dating for partnership. You were dating for marriage. A lot of those sort of, I'm going to say, quote unquote, gender roles were baked into the dating process. There were definitely questions. There was definitely a process of exploration within a new connection, but there weren't the questions I don't think that we have now, where's why someone is dating, what they're looking for, are they telling me the truth, right? Are they being honest with me? And a lot of people are dating for those more casual connections, right? No commitment. No. Yeah. What do you think about just that experience and how that may contribute to burnout?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's twofold, right? You have the people who, which I always appreciate, are very clear what they are looking for on their profile. You can tell if they're just looking for a hookup. They say it, which we love, right? It makes it very clear.
It does.
But then there's also the people who, and this is what I'm finding with my clients are experiencing, there are a lot of people out there who say they want a relationship.
Yeah.
And then once it starts to get serious, we're getting to the 1, 2, 3 month mark, they're coming to this realization that they don't, or they ghost, which is so painful and heartbreaking, right? Especially when someone ghosted you in the 80s or the 90s, they just didn't call anymore. But now if you're connected on social media, it's like they ghosted me, but they're still posting on their stories and going out and you're seeing them.
You're seeing it. Mm-hmm.
And it's painful. It's really adding to the burnout. So there's definitely this spectrum, right? Of, we love and appreciate the people who are very clear, but then there's a lot of muddy areas and a lot of people who are figuring it out. And I believe we are living in the most conscious time in history. More and more people are going to therapy. Therapy is becoming more accessible. There is great information out there on social media. People are learning about attachment styles, etc., from Instagram. this is
Yeah.
all great.
Mm-hmm.
But this element of the volume and the choices and
Yeah.
all these other nuances, I think, are really inundating people.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love the grocery store analogy you made. Exactly what it is.
Oh my God, somehow it seems to be on my mind more than I would like, to be honest, but somehow I got to weave in a little grocery knowledge into each conversation. We're going to come back to, we always come full circle here on Flirtations. We're going to be coming back to, right, how do you know, can you sort of weed out the people that are serious versus not? How do you know if someone's telling you the truth? We've got some tips coming later in the episode I think are going to be very helpful. But staying here for just one more moment, kind of talking about what is happening out there dating, I think as it relates to burnout too, we're also experiencing sometimes rejection on a scale that we've never experienced rejection before. If you're on the apps and you're swiping, and maybe not getting the matches, or you are and they're turning into conversations and then just don't go anywhere, or right, the first date and they never call back, or now you're texting and, well, when's the second date? You said you had a good time, kind of thing. And then maybe they disappear. So I think we're also experiencing rejection and disappointment on a scale that is just, it's difficult.
Unprecedented. Absolutely.
Really is. Yeah.
There's so many more opportunities to internalize rejection. And that takes a lot of brain power to fight. That takes a lot of brain power and mindset work to shape shift into something more positive, right? And not make it about you. Yeah. But our internal gut is to make it about you and to be constantly fighting that at every turn. Like you said, there's so many more opportunities. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. One more question here, because we've been talking about the dating apps somewhat a lot thus far in this conversation, because it's this relatively new phenomenon. And I think it's definitely contributing to burnout, right? Just swipe culture. But what are some, do you think maybe burnout would be so prevalent if the dating apps weren't here? Or are there some other causes, do you think? I know we've been talking about them throughout, but yeah, curious to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. I would say yes and no, right? For instance, I had a client who just went to speed dating, spent 2 hours at the speed dating event, very, very intentional event, and she walked away with 0 matches.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine the time investment, and then you're walking away with what feels like nothing, right? So I would imagine that it would still be prevalent. It would still be there, perhaps not to the extent that dating apps have created. It's created a lot of opportunity in both directions, right?
Yeah.
But I would imagine it would still be there to some extent. Again, if you watch an episode of Sex and the City, it was definitely happening then too as well.
And I've seen all those episodes many times. I'm rewatching it again for, I don't know, the 6th time I'm going to say. It's one of those shows. I grew up on it, right? As a millennial, it was that one show that, it's because we were getting the HBO. It was when you had your cable packages and you usually got that for free, right? To entice you. And to be the show like, oh my God, I'm too young to watch this. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to anyway. And every time I watch it, like I've grown with that show. And every time I watch it, I get something new. I relate to a different character in a different way. And it's fascinating how many parallels there are in that show from the late 90s, early 2000s. And 20 years later, we're still experiencing these timeless tales of love and missed connections and disconnection and heartbreak and everything. Yeah.
It's still there.
Really is. But I wanted to, we're going to kind of transition to the next topic, but I wanted to speak to what you were just speaking to, as much opportunity as the apps have created, I do agree with you. I think the burnout in many ways would still be there, because look at I think speaking to the overall consciousness of where we're at, a lot of us are burnt out in our careers and our other relationships. Like we are reaching this level of self-awareness, I feel, with the intake of information from Instagram, social media, podcasts, just wherever you're consuming um, information. And we're like, okay, um, it's time to make some changes. Yeah, like I think collectively, a lot of us are burnt out in many ways.
I couldn't agree more. I
Yeah,
couldn't agree more, especially in the, like you said, in career. But that quote from Esther Perel has stuck with me since I heard it
God.
weeks ago. But it's true. We're so connected yet disconnected
Mm. Yeah,
in this
that
age we're just
one's,
navigating.
yeah, that quote's going to stay with me too. It's um, a lot of us, it's, it's how do we make those connections and take them deeper, right? How do we transition beyond kind of the surface level, more superficial? I've got a lot of Facebook friends or followers, but when it gets right down to it, I need someone to feed my cat. Who can I count on? Who can I call? And do I even feel comfortable doing that? Or am I the hyper independent type person like me, like the flirt coach who's like, I don't need anybody. I can do it.
And
Gosh,
we weren't bred that way. We didn't evolve that way. We survived and we made it this far because we were evolved to be in villages.
I know.
Anyone who wasn't was taken out by a saber-toothed tiger.
Oh, which gosh, I wish I'd been able to see one of those in real life.
Could you imagine?
I picture me screaming. I'm screaming. The pitch is so high you can't even hear it right now as you're listening.
It's where the generational trauma started.
Oh, it did with the saber tooth. Ah, I just want to like pet the kitty a little bit, and then maybe not. I wouldn't make it. All right, okay, we're going to be getting into. We really grounded this conversation, as I like to do, in what is happening out there dating, talking about burnout. But now let's give some more context to burnout. And what is that experience like? Are there ways to tell if I'm burnt out? What does that feel like? Yeah, what do you think?
So I would say, yes, there are definitely signs of burnout. And I would say one of the biggest ones is
Mm,
feeling hopeless that you're not going to be able to find your person, feeling hopeless that you're going to end up a spinster and adopt 5 cats and be single
yeah,
for the rest of your life when you can't really see the vision. And of course, we have moments like that. That's totally normal.
yeah,
But when it's going on for days or weeks or gosh, even months,
yeah,
right? That's when it starts to be a problem. Because
yeah.
what happens is, if I told you right now to look around the room and notice everything that was green, you'd
Mm,
maybe name 1 or 2 things.
mm-hmm,
But if I told you, you're going to look around the room and I want you to notice every green thing,
mm-hmm,
you are going to notice infinitely more green things and be on the lookout for them.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
when you're burnt out and you're feeling hopeless, you're more likely, one, to see the negative and highlight the negative about
Yeah,
dating, about people,
yeah,
and two, make negative assumptions
yeah.
and negative stories that you
Mm-hmm,
don't know are true. You're making them up in your mind and
mm-hmm.
creating stories around a profile, creating stories around something that a date said. And listen, if they were straightforward, of course, take that as truth.
Yeah,
However, there are a lot of times and ways that you could take someone's story and make meaning out of it and assign meaning that isn't really there. And that happens so much more with dating burnout. I'll ask a
yeah.
client who's in the midst of dating burnout, what don't you like about, why would you say no to this profile? And when
Mm,
pressed to say no, they're like, I don't know, it's just a vibe, right? And that vibe could be attributed to just not feeling good about yourself or not feeling good about dating and just being burnt out with it.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say that's one of the biggest signs.
I think so too. I agree. And we're going to stay here for a moment more. So, for the person that is just, I mean, I think the question is how to start to untangle some of these feelings of frustration, of hopelessness, of overwhelm, of disinterest, right? Got this question from a flirty. How do I know if I'm burnt out or just disinterested. So I think that's the question, Michelle. Let's go with that.
That is such a good question.
Yeah.
I would say number one, honor the feelings. Always honor the feelings.
Yeah.
They're normal. They're valid. Not everyone has the experience where they met their person in college and now they're together. Like, it is normal to have a dating journey full of highs and lows, a dating journey that will challenge you to your core.
Yeah.
This is normal. So always, number one, validate the experience, validate the emotions. I really just want to name the ebbs and flows of dating, the highs and lows. They are normal to have.
Yes.
And then I would ask, are you kind of full circle once again, right, Benjamin? Are you burnt out in any other area of your life?
Ooh.
How are you feeling in general when you wake up in the morning? How are you feeling in general when you go to bed at night?
Yeah.
What are some of your other routines and ways that you're taking care of yourself?
Yeah.
Do you feel good when you're with your friends? If you're feeling good when you're with your friends and then not good when you're dating, or with this person, maybe that's indicative that they're not for you. But if you're not feeling good with your friends, if you're not feeling good when you're dating, if you're not feeling good in these other aspects of life, it's good to examine that and see if that's having influence on dating.
Yeah, really good tip. And I'll say for me, it's like one of the key differentiators, like the way I can help distinguish burnout from just disinterest, burnout from maybe overwhelm, I need to take a break, burnout from, gosh, I'm really struggling to stay positive or optimistic about this right now, is indifference, right? If you are on the apps and the story you were just telling about your client and everybody is just not cutting it, you're swiping, you're not matching with anybody, or you make the match and then it gets to the conversation and you're like, I don't even want to do this. I don't have one more hello, how are you? Right? What's going on? I don't have one more of those in me. Or you're not on the apps at all, you're in person. And maybe someone comes up to you or you see someone that you want to flirt with, perhaps, and you're just like, you know what? I ain't got it. I just, not feeling it. And that's
what's the point?
What's the point? Oh my gosh. And that's the experience that you're having over and over and over. I think we've reached the point of indifference, of burnout, where we're starting to shut down a little bit. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Wow.
Yeah.
What a great tip. That's huge.
The indifference piece. And so let's stay here for a little bit. So and speak to the ways that we start to shut down in burnout. It's not just disinterest perhaps or indifference, but what do you think happens to our minds and bodies when we are experiencing burnout?
A lot of compare and despair. It's so easy to look on the internet and say, how did they find their person? Why not me? I'm happy for them, but why not me? What's wrong with me? We start internalizing and making it, what's wrong with me that I haven't found someone yet?
Right.
This person from high school found someone. How could I not have found someone yet? As if we're making having a partner mean something good about ourselves. Like there's or if we don't have one, there's something inherently wrong with ourselves. That's a big one I see a lot, is looking internally and saying, what's wrong with me that I haven't found someone yet, when we're in this really hopeless place.
Yeah. And it's, we're going to talk to the hopelessness piece as well in this. That's where a lot of the questions that came through were focusing on just how to maintain hope, belief, stay optimistic, right? If I don't feel like, right, it's never going to happen, right? It's like the moment has passed me by kind of thing. So we're going to, for the flirty that is in that headspace, that submitted a question like that, we got you. But want to stay here for and talk about dating breaks. And so as we start to develop some strategies to deal with dating burnout, talking to or speaking to taking a break, what do you think about that? And what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a huge fan of breaks.
Yeah.
Huge fan of breaks. I use this analogy. I was hiking in Yosemite and I felt pain. I was like at the end of a 12-mile hike, hated my life. And I just felt like I couldn't go on.
Yeah.
And I remember taking a break, having water, a granola bar, a deep breath, and the pain actually left my body. And it's not like I took a painkiller.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I did anything to directly address the pain. All I did was take a break. So there is this strong mental component, an emotional component that happens when we are burnt out, and breaks really do help.
Yeah.
So I always say, John and Julie Gottman, they have been researching marriage and love and relationships for the last 40 years. They say that people who are in healthy relationships spend 6 hours a week nurturing their relationship.
Okay.
And so I would say when you are taking this break, delete the dating apps, delete them, especially if you have an anxious attachment, because you're going to be tempted to swipe on the toilet when you're bored. And you want the break to be as intentional as possible. I say, just like the Gottmans say, to take the 6 hours when you're in a healthy relationship, take 6 hours a week to spend on you. And that doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be doing your skincare routine.
Yeah.
Or taking a hot shower.
Yeah.
Or taking yourself on the date that you want someone to take you to.
Yeah.
Or journaling or lighting a candle. Really making your life a luxury and really pouring into you. The 6 hours will add up quick.
Oh, yeah, they will. I mean, binge Sex in the City, binge Flirtations, right? Come follow us, observe the posts and the stories. We will take care of you. Yes, we will. I like that tip a lot. And I think I want to say here, it's like, because I'll often see as I'm doing my flirt search that dating is about momentum, right? And so sometimes speaking to the pressure or the FOMO, the fear of missing out, if I delete the apps, if I take a break, what if I miss the one, right? What if it's just one more swipe, and you feel like somehow taking a break, you're going to lose all your momentum, that you're going to just miss out. And I want to reframe that, offer the flirties something different here. And that is, think about how taking a break, you can nourish yourself. You can reprioritize and focus yourself. And when you're burnt out, when you're starting to quite literally experience nervous system shutdown, indifference, rest, taking care of yourself is exactly what you need. I think you're being called to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. It's the quality of the break, right? And it's everything that you named. If the break involves still like half dating and not really taking care of yourself, as you said, Benjamin, then you won't feel rejuvenated. But with the quality of the break, it could even be a week, a couple of days, 2 weeks. But when you are actually pouring into yourself, you will see that it won't take much time to bounce back. It's the quality over the length of the break.
And think about because you're also, as you're pouring into yourself, right? We've all heard the analogy, you can't pour from an empty cup, of course. So starting to fill your cup and think about how much more maybe energized, confident, empowered, focused you're going to show up in the dating process. Come do some flirt yoga with me over on FlirtTube. That's YouTube, so that you can be more present. You're going to be able to really embody the qualities of the partner that you're looking to attract, knowing that you got to show up. I know, you got to show up as that partner yourself, first and foremost. I know. You do.
You do. I would say
really
to
do.
the flirties who have FOMO and they're afraid that they're going to miss a connection, I would say you're more likely to miss a connection when you're burnt out.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you for that. That's the soundbite. There's the promo for the episode. Truly. What minute are we on? Fantastic. Let me note that. And I want to mention here or talk to this experience that I know a lot of us have out there dating. And even if we're not dating, maybe this is something that happens where you're out, maybe just running errands, you're at the grocery store, you're at a party, something like that, and you see someone you want to flirt with, or yeah, let's say someone you want to flirt with, and you're thinking to yourself, "Ooh, are they single? Right? Is that the one? Is that my future partner? I wonder, did they see me? I wonder, ooh, do I look good?" Right? You're sort of checking yourself in the mirror, sort of thing. I hope they look at me. I hope they look at me. And so I want to speak to that experience too, and to take a break, a true break. Give yourself that mental break too, from sort of always being in this headspace of what do they what do they think about me? Or, ooh, are they single? Right? You're sort of dating without dating. You know what I mean?
Takes the pressure off.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Takes the pressure off. Pressure is the fun sucker of dating and flirting.
It really is. Yes. Get out of your head into the flirt. More so, have this be a heart centered practice. Take that pressure off yourself. The comparisonitis, as you were talking about a little bit earlier. Yeah, this is something, and I think as we start to answer some questions from the flirties here, some of your dating questions, the conversation will naturally or is naturally coming or evolving into this this decentering dating kind of topic that is becoming very popular, that I've talked about on Flirtations before, and is approach that I'm taking into my life personally. Yeah, so we're all right. We're going to come back to that. All right, let's ask this question now. Speaking to how to maintain belief, hope, all of that good stuff. The flirties are, there's quite a few of you going through it. Okay, this question here. How do I not feel like I'm losing time or that I'm getting too old? How do you stay positive? This is, word for word. What do you think, Michelle?
This question always hits so deep in my heart.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to have children. And if you are a woman, unfortunately, there's a biological clock and there's so much pressure when you date from that place. So I really, really feel the flirties out there who are experiencing this. I want you to know that you have time.
Yeah.
You have time. So much can happen in a week, 2 weeks, 6 months, a year. And if you are really worried about a biological clock, talk to a medical professional or reproductive specialist you trust. Do not go on ChatGPT. Do not go on the internet. Do not go on Google. Do not talk to your friends.
Yeah.
Because the information will overwhelm you. And it is more important to get the information from the source that you trust.
Yeah.
And that could help take a lot of pressure off.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you have time, but you do.
Yeah, so good. And this is where like my lived experience, right, as a gay man, like not something that's a part of my dating experience, but I'm really glad that you mentioned that and that this flirty submitted that question. Yeah, know that you do have time, take in some trusted research and check out a few podcasts as well from people from daters that have been in your shoes, had your experiences and what they did. Maybe they conceived naturally themselves, right, with a donor and was like, I don't need to date to have a family, to be a mother, if that is something you're looking forward to or something you want in your life. So it's kind of about maybe detaching, right, from the way you thought it would go, the way, like the expectation of this is what it should be, and more so accepting what is, just releasing into the moment, releasing into the experience and filling your cup, right? What do I need? What do I want? How can I really allow myself to be fulfilled? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. This question here from a flirty said they said, how do I convince myself to try again? I've become a hermit. What? I know there's a lot of flirties all around the world right now. Like, yep, me. Me.
I relate to this so
God.
deeply.
Me too. I say no, that wasn't my question. Was it me?
I experienced this on my dating journey,
Yeah.
especially after being in a string of back-to-back relationships that were really misaligned and sucked a lot of energy out of me. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
being alone is kind of great. It's kind of nice. I don't have to think about anyone else.
Yeah.
I don't have to consider anyone else.
Yeah.
And when it comes to dating, you get to take that mental energy that you put toward dating and that physical time and space and just have it all for yourself and do whatever you want and stay inside. I think COVID also showed us that we get used to anything quickly. So this might be a case of just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Just put yourself out there. Just either go on a date, take a step in the direction that you want to go in.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
Whether that's putting yourself back there on a dating app, even if you're just so used to staying inside at night, take yourself on a date or go out with a friend. Start getting yourself back out there. Just take one step. Don't think about all the other steps that have to come after that.
Right. Oh, yes.
About the first.
Yes. I love that. It's like, how do I convince myself? I don't think you have to convince yourself to try again. It's what you were just saying. And because sometimes I'll get, this question, or kind of a lot, right? You see someone and you think they're probably attractive or interesting or something caught your eye and you're curious about, ooh, are they single? Are we going to go on a date? Ooh, can I get their number? What if they say no? You're going through all the things. And I'm like, why? You don't even know their name. Focus on a point of connection first and just ask some questions, make some observations, get into the flow of conversation. And so to this question, you don't have to convince yourself to date necessarily, to find the one that you're going out for that reason. Go out for yourself. Do something that you want to do, that you would be interested in doing for you. And is there one person that you can just say hello to? Start there.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
It's all it takes.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Start
Simpler
there.
than what we make it. Start there. One step.
Yeah. We go, and I've done this so many times, go from 0 to 100, where it's like you're sitting at home and the gap now between where you are on the couch, right, watching Sex and the City, single, and where you want to be beside someone watching, for me, a nice Hallmark romantic comedy, right? It's like, oh, okay, this is a big gap. And it may seem like, how do I close this gap? Or how do I get the person, the thing, whatever it is, the dream career, right? We're really talking about burnout in this episode. It's start with that first step. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's ask. All right, I've got this question now from a flirty who says, I've been technically single for almost 12 years since divorce. Lots of "you're too good for me" kind of feedback out there dating. I've basically given up, but it would be nice to have someone to share life with. Tips for getting the hope back, or even the desire to put effort into finding someone.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love this question so much.
Yeah.
I have two thoughts.
Okay.
So I heard two different questions. Getting the hope back, the desire back. Getting the desire back. Start with your why. Why do you want a partner? How would your life be different without a partner? How would a partner add to your life? The right partner, right? And if you've had a string of relationships that were misaligned, it might feel like partners take away from your life. But the fact is, with the right person, they add a lot to your life.
Yeah.
And so really tuning in and asking yourself, why do I want a partner? What things would we do? What would my life be like?
Yeah.
And just starting to allow yourself to go there will help bring you back to that inspiration to date again and have that desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would say, here's the thing with dating. It's very easy to see it as all or nothing. I have the partner or I don't have the partner.
Yeah.
And it's so different from other goals in life. For instance, let's say you have a goal to run a mile, and right now you can't even make it down the block.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many small wins along the way, along the journey that are tangible. Let's say you can only run a quarter of a mile. And then the day you run a half a mile, you feel like you're getting somewhere. You feel like you're almost there, like you're making progress, like you could do this.
Yeah.
But with dating, when you're looking at it from the place of, I have a partner, I don't have a partner, and you don't see all the little wins in between, like, hey, I'm starting to date people who are aligned with my dating goals, who are really nice people, who are genuine, who are kind, who are amazing human beings. This is a win, right?
Yeah.
But when you don't see it that way, it's as if you ran 0.9 miles and you don't think you made any progress from where you started. So what helps keep the momentum and what gives you hope is seeing where you were at the start.
Yeah.
And then noticing the little wins along the way. Maybe you're being more consistent. Maybe you're cutting off connections that aren't for you much sooner than you would have before.
Yeah.
These are little wins that are actually big wins, that are indicators that you are getting closer and closer. Yeah. So we need to start seeing dating in the same way that we would see other goals with micro wins along the way versus this all or nothing that could leave us feeling so hopeless.
Definitely. And we're going to, I think, spend the rest of the conversation. I teased it earlier, alluded to it, how to sort of, distinguish the people that are in it. If you're looking for, you're dating because you want the long-term committed relationship. How do I know that the people I'm going to go on dates with are looking for the same thing? Speaking to hopelessness, some of the burnout, frustration here, I want to offer that a reframe I've been working with, because I'm single and dating as well. And I get hopeless as well. Like, I experience that too. I think we all do. I experienced the burnout. I, at the time of recording, have deleted the apps yet again, right? No plan to re-download because I was just swiping. Like this person here says, swiping burnout, when the options are consistently, like, I feel like I just can't, right? They're sort of, right? I'm overwhelmed, burnt out with this experience, but sort of what else do I do? Delete them, refocus your energy, your time, your attention, and what you were talking about, the green, right? If you start to really look for and believe that opportunities for deeper connections exist, then they do. And so I want to highlight the difference between hope and belief. And even if you feel hopeless, I don't know, is this going to happen for me? I get that. It doesn't mean you lack belief. That you can lack hope and still believe that you're deserving of the love, the fulfilling connections, the partner, right? All the things. Just because you don't have it right now, you still get to believe in the possible, believe in the opportunities. And so that's something I hold on to is, when I have moments of hopelessness, I don't lack belief, or I try not to allow myself to go into this realm of, it's never going to happen, right? I still get to believe. Yeah.
I love this so much. I love this so much, Benjamin. It's so funny you say that too, because I actually matched with my husband, my now husband, on Bumble off the back end of being burnt out for months with dating and in that headspace. And planning the week before and after I met him, I planned a solo trip. It was as if I wasn't going to meet anyone. Yeah. And yet you take the action. You can not have that hope, but it's that belief that will allow you to continue to move forward and take the action. And even though I was feeling tired and I was on the back end of feeling burnt out, I still dated. I still dated,
Yes.
put one foot in front of the other, and met new people with the intention of, I'm just going to meet someone new and hear some stories
Yeah.
and connect with a
Yes.
human being today. And
Yes.
that's always an honor. It's always an honor to connect with another person and hear some stories.
I think so too. That's my flirt mission: connection, 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 and a perfect transition into, I think, the final part of the conversation today, talking about your why, how to know, right, what someone's intentions are, maybe without directly asking them, or you do, but you're, oh, I'm not sure. Um, Authenticity. I want to finish this conversation talking about that. And I love this quote you had from Esther Pearl here at the beginning. I think a lot of our connections are missing that authenticity. And it's by being you and showing up fully as you that you're going to attract those people that can vibe with you there, that can hold that space with you there, that can have those conversations with you and have the ability to go deeper versus the people that they just, for whatever reason, no judgment, no criticism, they just aren't there. Maybe they're dealing with something, they're working through something in their life. Maybe they're extremely burnt out themselves and they're unsure why, or they're not at the point of self realization yet for themselves, but you are. And so I want to talk about authenticity as we finish the conversation. And it's, yes. So, what do you think about authenticity as being a dating strategy?
It's, in my opinion, the only strategy you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could sit around and talk about dating apps, how to meet in person, organically, this, that, the third. If you don't have this piece, none of it matters. The rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you are authentically yourself and you have the bravery, and bravery is not confidence. Bravery is doing the thing with the fear, even though you have the fear.
Yeah.
So when you have the bravery to show up and authentically be yourself, despite the risk of rejection, you will not only repel the people who aren't for you, which you want, you will wildly attract the people who are for you.
Yeah.
And when we make it mean that the people who really aren't for us, make it mean something about us and rejection and this and that, we're missing out on and tiptoeing around who we really are.
Yeah.
You are missing out on the people who are really for you. And that's why the more that you can say to yourself, the more I am me, I will repel the people who aren't meant for me anyway and wildly attract the people who are. It's inevitable. How could it not work out?
Yeah. I agree completely. If you feel, like you're swiping, or you're just going on first date after first date, or you're having like the third date block, how can I get past this? I think coming back to authenticity and just show up as you, however you're feeling, who you are, where you're at in life, ask the questions, share about yourself, right? You don't have to go into your whole life story. You don't have to, open up and tell someone past hurts or traumas or wounds right away. Wouldn't advocate for that, but what's on your mind? What are some things you're interested in? What are you reading? What are you watching? What do you want to learn about this person? Establish that point of connection. Allow the connection to be fulfilling, based, really centered on authenticity. And I think as long as you approach dating with that in mind, how could you go wrong? Maybe it doesn't lead to the second date, but I hope it's going to be a more fulfilling process for you rather than leading to burnout, overwhelm, frustration, you're stressed, you're starting to shut down. Yeah.
Absolutely. Every date you go on is an opportunity to learn more about yourself. And I actually, as a result of a first date that didn't work out,
Yeah.
I decided to run a half marathon. Yes, because he asked me, would you ever, I was running here and there, and he asked me, would you ever consider running a half marathon? No, I would never do that.
Yeah.
He was like, okay. And then I went home because of his question. I went
Yes.
home and I thought about it. And I
Yes.
realized that I was afraid. And so I said, I'm going to face my fear head on and I'm going to run it. And it was because I went on this date, because I had an authentic connection with someone, because I allowed someone the opportunity to teach me something about myself. And that's what dating is about.
Yes.
Might not lead to your person, of course, every single time.
Yeah.
But can you give it the opportunity to lead you to something new about yourself?
Absolutely. In many ways, establishing that connection first. I think it all starts there.
So important.
Wow.
Let that be your guide. Let that be your North Star.
Yes. Let
If
that
anything
be
else.
Let that guide your dating galaxy. Oh my gosh, Michelle, this has been an incredible conversation. I can't believe we've been talking for nearly an hour. This went by so incredibly fast. I want to,
So fast.
yes, turn it over to you now. Once more, if you'd like to share anything about just final words here, where the Flirties can find you, work with you, I'll have all linked in the show notes. But yes, want to give you the time here.
Absolutely. So you can find me. I hang out a lot on Instagram and in my newsletter. My handle is That Millennial Therapist. Like I said, I help millennials all across the love spectrum. So breakup, if you're single and looking for your person, and then relationships. Of course, when you're in one and when you find one, it's a when, not an if. And if you are feeling so burnt out with dating right now, I actually have a free resource for you. It is called Spark. It's a free masterclass. And it's the 6 steps to heal dating burnout. So if you want a deeper conversation of them, I know. Isn't that incredible?
That's perfect.
Perfect. If you want a deeper conversation of what we talked about today, that is there for you. And it's absolutely free.
That's absolutely incredible. I will make sure and have that linked in the show notes. I will send the Flirties your way. If you're listening to this upon debut or at some point in the future, head on over to grab the Spark resource. Michelle Mouhtis, That Millennial Therapist. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us today, sharing so much knowledge and wisdom with the Flirties, and being on Flirtations.
Thank you, Benjamin. What an honor. Thank you, Flirties.
Thank you, Michelle Mouhtis, for coming on Flirtations today to have a conversation with us about dating burnout. Flirty, wherever you are in the dating process, heck, on the sidelines, you're in a relationship, taking a break, somewhere in between, in and out of it all, actively dating someone new, someone long-term. This episode, I hope you got exactly what you needed, you got your takeaway, and you're feeling good, because that was, of course, what we were hoping for, and some more, right? Lots of surprises, as always, on Flirtations. Okay, Flirty, thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for streaming. Wherever you are in the world, please share this with a friend, somebody you even mildly like, you want to share some flirt energy with, you want to share Flirtations with, have them, take a listen. And with that, thank you again for listening. I am signing off here officially at Flirt Headquarters. My name is Benjamin. I'm the Flirt Coach and Gay Libra. I think there's only one order of business left, and that is flirty. Happy flirting.